And in this particular video, we're going to think about how many steps are necessary to solve a particular equation. The equation that we're dealing with is here, 2x plus 5 over 3 is equal to 4 plus x over 5. And the question is, what is the fewest steps do you think we need to take to solve this equation? Now, there's a couple different ways you can count steps, and you can kind of count the steps, and you can kind of there's steps and there's sub steps to this. But what I really kind of want you to think about in this particular problem is the main steps, right? Kind of like the main components of the solution. Right? What's your first thing you're thinking about? What's the second thing you're thinking about? Then like what's the third or fourth or fifth thing that you're thinking about? So kind of think, organize your steps, if you will, in a big picture way. You don't have to count every single tiny little thing that you're doing. But if you happen to count in that way, that's fine as well. There's not going to be any one exact right answer, but certainly, well, there is a one exact solution. Okay, but I'm talking about how many steps you need to take to solve this. What I want you to really kind of be thinking about here is what's the most efficient approach to solve this problem. Maybe that's a better way to kind of capture the essence of what I want to talk about in this video. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, these are my steps. Okay, so when I'm looking at this particular problem, what I'm thinking about right off the bat is I have fractions. Okay, so you might have been thinking the same thing. And there's a couple different ways, again, you could do this. We have 2x plus 5. That's the numerator, and then 3 is the denominator. Okay, so this is a fraction. Kind of more technically speaking, we would call this a rational expression or a rational equation. And those are equations in algebra that are effectively, fractional equations. Okay, and anytime you see fractions with variables in them, you want to be thinking about that word rational. Okay, rational numbers, rational expressions, rational equations, etc. Okay, so we have a fraction here, we have a number here, and we have another fraction here. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing here as my first step. In a second, you can actually see it right here. But one thing you could have done is like, okay, I got 4 plus x plus 5. You could have combined these expressions, added these two up. That's fine. You could have done that. And the result of doing that is you could have constructed a proportion. Now, I'm not going to show you that, but you could have done that, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. However, I'm going to kind of suggest to you that when you see rational expressions or equations, that you want to be thinking in terms of clearing all the fractions. Okay, so you want to clear all the fractions first, just so you can just get rid of the fractions and just kind of proceed from there. So how do you clear the fractions? Well, the first step is you need to identify the lowest common denominator. So what are the denominators involved? We have 3. Okay, that's a denominator. Here we have 4, but really we have 1. That's a denominator there, and we have 5. So we need to identify the LCD when we have fractions with denominators 3, 1, and 5. And of course, that lowest common denominator would be 15. All right, so that's the first step. I'm going to call this my first step there, is that I'm going to identify the LCD of this rational equation. All right, so it's 15. So that's step 1. Now, what is step 2? Well, step 2 is, once you know what the LCD is, okay, if we take that LCD and we multiply it by the entire equation, the effect of doing that is we are going to clear the fractions, all the fractions in the equation, and that's really kind of the best thing you want to do. Okay, just want to get away from dealing with fractions, so deal with them right up front. Get that LCD and multiply by the entire equation, all the terms left and right hand side of the equation, and then the result is, if you did this right, you will have cleared the fractions. So this is my second main step. So let's go and take a look at that right now. So here is 15, that's the LCD, and I'm going to kind of write it out this way. I'm going to take 15 and multiply it by the entire equation. So I'm going to take this 15, multiply it by this. Okay, it's always kind of, you want to be thinking about the distributive property, 15 times 4, and then 15 times x over 5. Now, if you kind of follow along with me, you're like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on, and you think you could do the rest of this problem, then you should pause the video and just follow through and see if you can actually finish out the problem. I already showed you what the correct answer is, because just because you understand the concepts I'm talking about doesn't necessarily mean that you can, kind of write out all the correct steps. Okay, you'll see what I'm talking about here. Actually, let me just go and show you it right now. Okay, so right here is kind of all the mathematics involved in seeing 15 or LCD being multiplied by the equation. So before we do this, before we take this 15 and just start multiplying, what you want to do is look at each denominator. Okay, so here we have 3, here we have 15. So don't just multiply 15 times this. Say, okay, here's a denominator. You have to look at these things one by one. 3 goes into 15 how many times? 5, all right? So instead of taking 15 and multiply by that over 3, just think about, okay, how many times does 3 go into 15? That's 5. So our remaining expression is going to be 5 times 2x plus 5. All right, so hopefully you understand that. So 5 times 2x plus 5, make sure you have this in parentheses. That's the first kind of step of taking our LCD and multiplying by this first term, the left-hand side of the equation. Okay, so now, of course, we'll clean this up here in a second. Now let's go and continue. Now we have 15. And here, this is 4 over 1. So 1 goes into 15, obviously 15 times. So 15 times 4, of course, is 60. Okay, and then we're going to have 15. We're going to multiply by this x over 5. Before we do that, we have this denominator. We're going to say, oh, 5 goes into 15 how many times? All right, well, 5 goes into 15 3 times. This is going to be 3 times x, or 3x. Now, if you need to kind of actually write this out, like, okay, that was confusing, and just take this 15 over 1, and you multiply it by x over 5, and you kind of go, all right, that's 15x, numerator times numerator, over denominator times denominator, excuse me, that's 5, so 5 goes to 15, that's 3x. That's fine, but you need to kind of, be able to kind of look at the problem here, because you're really going to be doing a lot of extra writing when you're solving the equations and kind of making your paper, if you will, filled up with a lot of stuff that you shouldn't, that you want to refrain from, okay, because you kind of make your work confusing. Now, you could put this off to the side, like on a piece of scrap paper, but again, all this comes from practice, right? So before you start multiplying, just kind of, look, okay, 5 goes to 15, 3, and of course, it takes the mental discipline to do each one of these multiplications one by one. Okay, so once you're satisfied that you did this right, I'm like, okay, that's right, 5 times 2x plus 5. All right, 15 times 4 is 60. 5 goes into 15, 3 into 3x, boom. Okay, so you feel good about this step. So now we're going to go ahead and just clean this up. Are you struggling in math because of confusing lessons? Maybe the teacher's not showing you all the steps you need, or things are happening too fast. Well, there is a better way. So come on over to my math help program at tcmathacademy.com. There you'll find clear step-by-step instruction by me that will definitely make a huge difference in your math success. So make sure to check out all my courses by following the links in the description. By using the distributive property, so 5 times 2x plus 5, we've got to clean this up. That's going to be 5 times 2x, 10x, and then 5 times 5 is 25. And so the resulting equation is this, all right? So this is the result of step 2. So step 2 was to take that LCD and multiply by the entire equation to clear the fractions, and we end up with this equation, okay? Of course, it's this equation as well, but we'll take that additional step and clear this part of the equation up by using the distributive property. All right, so what is the last step? Well, you can see this right here. The last step is we want to solve the remaining equation. So basically, we took that rational equation and kind of rewrote it in this manner. 10x plus 25 is equal to 60 plus 3x. So we're going to go ahead and solve this equation now instead of that original equation. And again, the benefit of doing this is that we don't have to deal with fractions. So let's go ahead and solve this last remaining equation. So the first thing is I'm going to move all the numbers on the right and then all my variable terms on the left-hand side. Doesn't make a difference if you move the numbers first or the variables first. So here I'm going to move this 25 to the other side of the equation. I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides of the equation. And when I do this, you can just add down in a column manner. So 10x plus nothing is 10x. Positive 25 minus 25 is 0. 60 minus 25 is 35. 3x plus nothing is 3x. Now we're going to move all the variable terms to the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides of the equation, just like this. I'm going to add down. So 10x minus 3x is positive 7x. 35 plus nothing is a positive 35. And then the 3x's here go away. Now you could be counting these as individual steps, right? If you're like, hey, Mr. YouTube Math Man, you told me how many steps, you're missing steps here. Well, yes, I would say that's a fair, comment to make. But I did tell you in the beginning of this video that I wanted you to kind of organize your steps into two, like groups, if you will, right? Like, what are the main steps? So the main step here is that we're solving this last remaining equation. And of course, there are sub-steps to do this, but let's go and finish up. So we have 7x is equal to 35. So to solve for x, we need to divide both sides of the equation by 7. So x is equal to 5. Now, a little technical thing here. Okay, this is the solution to the equation. And one technical thing is the following, a technical comment. Okay, let's go back up here and let's go to this step, okay, the LCD. Okay, now we took the LCD and we multiplied by the equation to clear fractions. Now, what we did was multiply the entire equation by a number value. Okay, so 15 was LCD, we multiplied it by the entire equation. Now, if the LCD was some sort of variable situation. So let's kind of change this up. What if I had like 3x maybe down here, in my denominator. So my LCD involves a variable. If you are multiplying the entire equation, but something with a variable in it, let's say I had 15x, that's a whole different situation. Okay, well, it is, but it isn't. Right? You're probably confused with that. What I'm saying is the following. If your LCD involves a variable term, an x, a y, doesn't make a difference, you still follow these steps. However, what happens is the result of doing that is you could introduce what we call extraneous solutions. This is a huge, huge concept in algebra. Okay, so it's the same step, okay, but if you're multiplying the entire equation with something in a variable, you could be introducing something called, again, extraneous or extra solutions. And the only way you can determine if, in fact, that you have an extra solution, which would not be the solution to the original equation, is you have to take your solution, like in this case, x is equal to 5, and plug it back in to the original equation. Okay, of course, the original equation is the following, and then we would go ahead and see if it actually, works. Okay, you're going to check each solution. That is a required step. Now, a lot of students forget that step, and they end up paying the price on tests and quizzes. So, again, when you're approaching a problem like this, the whole, essence of this video is to think about the steps you're going to take. More like the organization, like what is the main process, okay? Not all the tiny little sub-steps, because all these sub-steps here that I'm taking is really kind of the habits, and the kind of procedures that you learn in more basic algebra, like solving linear equations. But when you get to something like this, where we're dealing with a rational equation, you want to be thinking about kind of big picture procedure. And it's the same thing too with linear equations. So anyways, I hope that this video was at least, made you think about organizing, the kind of main activities that you need to take to solve an equation. And it's going to be different depending on what type of equation you're dealing with in algebra. Now, if you need help with algebra, solving equations, depending on what level you're at, check out either my pre-algebra or Algebra 1 course. Also, I have additional videos on my YouTube channel. Matter of fact, I have a couple, close to, I believe, a couple thousand videos after 10 plus years on YouTube, which it's been awesome for me because I love to teach math. So believe me when I tell you, I have a lot of content on my channel on all topics mathematics. So, go through that stuff. That's going to really help you out with. But whether it's my videos or someone else's videos or another textbook, doesn't make a difference. Make sure you correct whatever you don't understand. Because if you know you don't understand something and you're trying to truly learn mathematics, if you don't address that, then you're going to kind of keep repeating that error over and over again. Okay? All right, so with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.